Okay, we're going to do some PVA. So this is how we prepare one sheet of linen before we stretch it on its forever bar. So the first thing I've done is made a temporary bar that I've covered in tape on top and bottom so that the PVA won't stick to the wood. Got my piece of linen, and you can see it's just loosely draped right off the roll. We're at the end of the roll here. So what I do is I tack about a hand's worth of staples between, a hand's distance between staple. You can see I'm not pulling anything, just letting it fully drape. Because the PVA is going to want to shrink the linen. Pull very tightly. So you can see just one hand's worth distance between each staple. Then we're going to trim right to the edge here. Let me just trim.
Why are you trimming that?
This is just so it doesn't get dust and weird stuff. We're not going to be, just to keep it a little crisper. The bar that it's going to be stretched over is smaller, so the edges are just to give us a little extra room to work with.
So you want to make a temporary stretcher bar that's larger than the size you're going to use?
Yeah, I usually do about 10 inches bigger.
Okay.
So, very floppy. And what I do it in the corner here. Jam it against the door. We're going to do front and back.
Oops.
Front and back. And sometimes what I like to do too is do a little lift so your brush doesn't hit the ground.
That's just because the floor is pretty dirty with sawdust and other things.
Okay, so tools. I use a big brush. This is PVA size.
Okay.
Little plastic bucket.
Okay. So that's just PVA size you have in there?
Yes, just PVA size. Obviously, it's like water basically.
Okay.
And I go across, but then I bring it straight down. So you can see here, you want to work up and down. You don't want to work, you don't want to work flat. You want to let all of as much of this actually, you're kind of brushing it into the surface. Yeah.
Right. You got to work it in.
Work it
So
in a bit,
because it's a size, so you want it in the fibers.
Yeah. All of that will get brushed in, but I usually go about half the distance before I then go with the rest of the egg.
And why do you do it going up and down, like instead of laying it flat on a table?
Well, if you lay it flat on the table, it's just going to want to sort of soak and might create puddles. It might
Stick to the table.
Stick to the table, yeah. So this is to avoid in your initial, because it's going to start to tighten up a lot.
And also, if it's too big, then you can't reach the middle.
That's true. Depends on your wingspan.
And you want to work fast, right?
I mean, you want to work, you don't want it to dry halfway. You don't want to take a phone call from the bank or something for like 30 minutes. You want to work continuously, and it could take, 10 to 15 minutes depending on the scale. Because you're going to basically start on one side, and whatever white you're seeing is just all going to be clear. So you're going to get a beautiful size piece of linen that's like a shade darker than what it originally started. And then we'll start here, grab the rest of it.
So this seems kind of great. You could do this on like a bigger frame, and then you could, once it dries, cut it and do a bunch of small things.
Exactly, yes.
And the reason to put it on a separate bar is
Because there's so much torque when the linen starts to absorb all of that liquid, it could hurt your initial bar.
well, also it soaks into the wood, and then it's not sized where it's hitting the wood. It pulls all of the PVA out of the linen into the wood on areas where it's touching wood, and that's why it has to be on a separate bar.
We're at the last quarter on this side. The second side goes faster because you've already sort of saturated the linen.
And is this it for both of June's or just one?
This is for one. So tomorrow, after this dries, I'll take it off and do the second one.
Okay.
You could build another one, but we're not in a rush.
Well, we are rushing, but not so much on that. It's probably easier to work with a bar that's this size rather than twice this size.
Yeah.
But you have done bars that
Very
are
large. Yeah.
much larger.
Oh, yeah. 100 by 100,
Yeah.
That takes a little bit more, a couple extra structural things.
It almost seems like you're skydiving
So you
or
can see
something
it's starting
then.
to tighten up a lot.
Yeah.
So now, flip to the other side.
Okay.
And this should finish off. Now we're just cleaning up.
So it's
There's
important
one
you
more-
do get it on both sides.
Very
And you do that while it's still wet.
still wet.
And then when that's done, you could paint in oil on the whole thing, and it's sized. And even if paint were to go through that, because maybe if there were gaps in the linen fiber, which I think in this linen there aren't, it still would be sized
Yeah.
because it completely
Soaks in.
polyvinyl acetate into each of the fibers and making it archival for oil or acrylic. What it doesn't do is keep the linen forever tight like rabbit skin does, though. But it is the recommended preparation if you're going to use acrylic. And you want to work on linen. All right, well, anyways,
Yeah, and then it just lays down at the end till it's dry.
do you put it flat?
Yes, put it flat. I usually rest it on these, so because when
Oh,
it
okay.
dries, it wants to sag again.
Because those are
So
like
just-
a little bit further
It's like
up
3/4 of
from-
an inch off
right.
of this. So just put it on another little piece.
And those are just to support it, so it's not totally crazy.
Right.
This frame just falling apart.
Yeah. Okay. Everything covered. Looks great.
Beautiful.
Now, just open up this door here. And I've got some sticks.
Oh, you're gonna put it on the floor in the gallery. Because we don't have gallery hours right now.
Yeah.
If someone wants to come though, we'll move it. Awesome.
There it goes. It's already absorbing.
Good job, Josh. Thank
Thanks.
you. Thank you for such a nice demonstration.